Confirmed.
The hard rain going fall. Dylan sang it back in the 60s, huh? 40 years ago. Now it's happening. We've been waiting all this time. We almost maybe forgot that it was predicted. Huh? It was predicted, and a lot of people bought into that prediction. A lot of people were waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. But somehow, you see, they've kept the dream going. They kept the bubble expanding. A few more years. Huh? Another 30, 40 years. And most of the old hippies lost patience. Huh? They got old. They got burned out. Too much drugs and sex and rock and roll. And they're not making the changes, huh? They're too old now. They can't change. And they've sold out. I was working for the man. When I came back from India, I'll never forget this. It was such a strong impression. I came back from India, and like all the people I had known on the West Coast that had long hair and were playing in rock bands were now, you know, like real estate agents. What? And they had short hair, you know, and they were doing all this business stuff. And I was like, what the? You sold out. You sold out. Huh? But I never let go of that vision. I knew that was right. Huh? Because whenever a civilization becomes too successful, it becomes arrogant. And they start to exploit too much. And this creates a karmic imbalance. When they go too far, that's the beginning of the end. So now we're in the end. Huh? Same thing happened to the Romans. Same thing happened to the Greeks, the Phoenicians, you know, so many ancient civilizations. You can go and see their ruins. They're still there sometimes. The Egyptians. All these great kingdoms, they all fell. They all failed. Do we think that ours is immune? No, of course not. Our civilization follows exactly the same rules, exactly the same principles as all the others. So when our civilization became arrogant and overexpanded, overextended, overexploited, that was the beginning of the end. And now we're coming to the middle of the end. When it becomes obvious to everyone that, oops, it's all crumbling. That moment is coming very soon. One of these days, very soon, everybody's going to wake up and say, uh-oh, it's really happening. Up until now, they've been able to avoid that realization, although we've seen it very clearly for a long time. But people in general are not going to be able to avoid coming to that same conclusion. I would say by the end of this year, early part of next year. And when they do, they're going to also have another realization. Like, oops, I blew it. I didn't get ready. Sorry. Huh? My friend Jeffrey Armstrong one time wrote a poem. They say they come from monkeys, and they've proved it through the ages by their total inability to listen to the sages. We used to laugh a lot about that, but now look what's coming. Look what's happening. Huh? We've been saying this for years, that this is going to happen. Nobody listened to us. We've been saying for years, you should organize a community. Nobody did it. And now, it's time. Where's your community? Huh? Where's your food storage? Where's your water purifier? Huh? You cannot depend on the corporate system anymore. It's crumbling. You have to fend for yourself. That's why we told everybody to download all of our material and make your own backup, make your own printout. Make your own archive. Because you can't count on the corporate system anymore. It's failing. It's falling apart. It's over. The party's over. Most Americans take it for granted that the purpose of life is simply to acquire things and consume them and enjoy them. That way of life is ending forever. Try to understand. The American dream is bankrupt. You're going to have to change. And if you accept this and start doing it now, you will be better off than if you stay in denial until the very last minute. I'm sorry if you don't like this, but this is really what's happening. You have to become responsible for everything that you consume, for everything that you need. Otherwise, there's no guarantee that it's going to continue to be available. Whatever you find valuable, whatever you find necessary, whatever you find important, you have to be responsible for that for yourself. And you better get going and organize a community wherever you are, because you're not going to make it through as an individual. There's going to be fighting in the streets. Not just in Tehran either. Everywhere. So, don't be lazy. Don't be caught unprepared. Don't be foolish. Listen to the sages. The sages have been saying this. How long have the Hopi Indians been saying this? 250 years. And nobody listened to them. Oh, yes, yes, oh, yeah, yes, tribal mysticism. Ah, yes, yes, of course. Well, that's, we studied that in social science, didn't we? Yes, of course. How quaint. But guess what? They were right. And the politicians and the businessmen and the economists and all those rascals were wrong. And guess who's going to pay the price? You. Because you listened to them. You didn't listen to the sages. You listened to the rascals. That was your bad choice. And now you're going to have to deal with the consequences. I'm sorry. I tried to tell you. I tried to convince people that we're headed for a complete meltdown of society, an ontological time bomb. I wrote the article back in 2003. Who read it? Who listened? Nobody. So what can I tell you? What can I say? You have to start now. If you don't start now, if you don't take this serious, then I don't know, maybe you're never going to get it. And I hate to be saying this. I wish I could say, congratulations, Charlie, in New York, you've got 20 people in your community. You've got 2 years of food stored up. Great work, Charlie. Keep it up. But I can't say that. Nobody is in that position in our group. Do you really take this serious, or you just say, oh yeah, Babaji, he's really cool. He's got videos on YouTube, wow, great. So what can I say? Get with the program, or be left behind. We're organizing to take care of ourselves with, some very intelligent people who get it and who want to work with us like that. But actually, we've been let down by our community. They have not contributed or raised the money or resources that we need to establish even one community. And now it's time. Now it's time when we're rapidly approaching the time where it's going to be everybody for themselves. You know, and I hate to say this. I wish I didn't have to say this. But that's the situation that we find ourselves in. And if we don't look it straight in the eye and do something about it, we're all going to be in really deep trouble. So we're realists. Huh? We're realists. We know that we're conscious living beings, spirit souls, that we're eternal, that these material bodies are not our real selves. But at the same time, we also know that this world is full of danger, and the best policy is to prepare and protect yourself.